So, welcome to the channel again. My name's Pete Weir.
And my name is John Prideaux.
So, what are we planning to do today, John?
Well, Pete, I thought we should carry on with the story of Jim, the unlucky accountant. We left it on a bit of a cliffhanger last time. So in this episode, let's see what happens next. This is AI.
So, John, I'm so pleased we're looking at this video again because I'm on a cliff edge as to what's happened to Jim.
Yes, well, Pete, I've finished the next section so we can see what happens next. And I've got a few more animation tips for you. So we can have a look at those later. But should we watch the video first?
Can't wait. Oh dear, John. It's getting worse, not better.
I know. He was all full of hope. He was looking at those new jobs. He thought, I'm going to put accounting behind me. AI is taking everything over. So I'm going to do something that just depends on me, like surfing or acting. Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Oh dear.
He's going to have to find something else. We'll find out if he finds anything next time.
Could you remind me how you went about making this video?
Yeah, here's the process, Pete. Do you remember that? If you don't, go back and look at the previous video where we explain it all.
I'll pop a link in the top there for people to go straight to it.
Because I'd already done part of that process, the bit I did this time was going through the animations and trying to get those right. Mostly because I'd learned from the first part, it was a bit easier the second time. I probably didn't have to create quite so many pictures, didn't have quite so many disasters, but there were some very interesting things that went wrong. Do you want to see them?
Oh yes, I like seeing it when things go wrong.
Here we go.
Oh dear.
So this was just in creating the stills stage. This went wrong.
That's not even video, so that's just stills of the animation
This is the stills
that you're going to input into the video.
Yeah, and this was interesting because I didn't tweak anything. Some of the pictures just came out completely wrong. So when I was trying to get Jim in the water, and I was very careful to say he was still in his suit and tie, it gave him two heads. Who knows why it did that?
Two heads are better than one?
Yeah, I think maybe said his head is out of the water, something like that. So it decided to put another head in.
Yes, it took his head out of the water and put it somewhere else. Yeah.
The other funny problem is he's sort of got a bit larger.
I thought surfing was good for you and he might have lost some weight, but it seems to be the other way around.
Yeah. And interestingly, the prompt definitely said he was slim. As we've seen before, it just sometimes ignores things for no reason.
Quite rude sometimes, isn't it?
Yes.
It does look like the same person who's put on weight.
Yeah, a bit different. I mean, he's got the same hairstyle, the same clothing.
Yeah, maybe he's relaxing a bit more, less stress.
Yeah, and a bit older. The quality of the image is very good, and the sea, it looks great.
Very good. Because quite often with animation and this style, it's not very good at water. So it looks pretty good at water here, actually.
Yeah, the ripples and the reflections on it is very good, I think.
Yeah.
Got a few more. So when I was getting him on the stage in a Shakespearean costume doing Hamlet, I suddenly got two Jims.
Oh, yeah.
Again, no reason, two Jims in one picture.
It's very good lighting there, isn't it? Very dramatic.
It's great, isn't it? It's recreated a stage kind of feel to it. It's taken that on board. So that's very good. I did have a little bit of trouble with his clothing. I'm not quite sure how to describe these old types of clothes, these costumes. So it kept doing different ones, different versions of Shakespearean costumes.
He's had to change a hairstyle as well.
Yeah, parting is on both sides now.
He might be wearing a wig for the stage, of course.
Of course, yeah, he's playing a character, so he is going to look a little bit different.
Yeah.
So that was the stills. So yeah, a few little problems there, but just had to keep going until we got what we wanted. And then we got into the animations and some very strange things started happening. This one here, I wanted him to have his hair like moving. So I put some prompting in about the wind blowing in his hair. Let me show you what it did.
Oh, oh, who's that person just arrived?
I know.
And what's that little thing in her hand now?
She's got like a little bird or something.
It's a bird. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's turned into a young girl with long hair and brought somebody else into the picture. So really quite odd, that one.
Very obscure.
I must say, it was a bit of a one-off.
I think it's an AI that's just not concentrating.
Yeah, it just got distracted for a moment. Maybe it got overloaded.
It's a bit like when you're on a chat and you're clearly talking to an agent who's talking to 6 different other people, and they might accidentally type the wrong thing in your chat window.
Yeah.
It feels like that's someone else's video that it's generating, and it managed to send it to you by accident.
Bumped into something else, yeah. Because it's continuously calculating, isn't it? It's continually working out the next probability. Just like with ChatGPT, where it's looking at the most probable next word, this is looking at the most probable next image.
Yeah.
Once it starts to go off track, it then can go way off.
So it's expecting to see more people in the scene, so it automatically adds them.
Yeah, it starts to assume that, oh, this scene must have more people in it. So this one, we had the old arm problem again.
Okay.
I mean, I was a bit silly. I let this picture go through with a hand in it. I should have known better.
Yes, the old mysterious hands.
Suddenly, there's another. Oh, there's an arm.
Oh, hello.
It just sort of, he's a bit, I don't know what the word is.
I'd like to see that again. That was an interesting one.
You want to see that again?
Yeah.
Just slowed it down. There we go. There's an arm. There's another arm. Oh, and it goes.
Oh, my goodness. A very long arm there.
Then that arm disappears.
Very, very odd. You'd have to write that into the story, wouldn't you, somehow?
Yeah.
That some alien spaceship is trying to get in touch with Jim for some reason.
Actually, he is an alien and he's morphing. You know, when he moves at speed, he starts to morph.
Yes.
Now, this one, he just wants to talk in this one.
No, it's chitter-chattering. I've noticed that that's happening with our avatars sometimes.
Yeah.
When we try and process silence, they just mumble away when there's no words for them to hear. It's like they're listening for anything, like a very quiet sound that they're trying to zoom in on. Whereas when you've got proper voices, it matches very well.
Exactly, yeah. And I'd actually added some prompting here to try and make him look a little bit scared. That was what I was going for. But it just seemed to add this talking, which was a bit strange.
Do you think that's trying to put on nervous chatter?
Maybe.
Or chattering your teeth?
And there were a few like that. I had a sort of ongoing problem. He wouldn't keep his mouth shut.
That's funny because actually some people's reaction to being nervous is to talk a lot.
That is true.
So maybe that's what it's interpreted.
Maybe. Now, I thought what I'd try and do, you know, Jim ends up in the water and sinking. The tool allows you to do this. It can give you a starting image and a finishing image. It will move it from one to the other.
Yeah.
So I tried this. So I've got Jim starting off in this position here.
Yeah.
And then the final position, well, you'll see. But what happens in between is a little bit odd.
Oh dear, he's fallen off his board. And now he's sinking.
And that was the final image.
I recognize that from the full video. That was his, he can't do surfing very well. But yeah, I see you cut all of that out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a moustache.
And he's got a moustache all of a sudden. And then he eventually gets there.
It's given it quite good motion blur. So that's quite often a thing that's added to films to make us feel like there's movement.
Yeah.
I quite like the way it's done that.
When you see it at speed, you don't really notice that. It's just a whoosh.
You just notice him changing characters 3 times.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, your brain can pick that up as well. It's only a split second, but you can see it definitely.
Yeah, something's gone very wrong here.
Yeah, so those were some of the issues we had.
Because actually, the addition to the movie is only a few seconds, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've spent quite a long time on this, and it's actually a lot of effort.
The things I had to go through, Pete, to get the final one. And you know, the irony was, in the final picture, I didn't add any additional prompting. So I just let Luma decide what to do. And it gave me something pretty usable. And his hair was moving.
Oh, hang on, there's something funny in the water.
Did you see that? Yeah, I was trying to work out what it was.
Is it a little penguin?
It just starts to appear. It looks like a little eye and a mouth.
It reminds me of a little penguin. I can see white, black, and red, like it's a penguin, or
Like a fish or something. It's like one of those weird creatures again.
oh yeah.
And then it just disappears.
How weird. It's like they forgot to Photoshop that out. I'm just thinking, do you think it's taking stock pictures and trying to edit out the things you don't want?
Yeah.
And then put your character in it. So therefore, maybe it's leaving some things behind. Because this could have been a picture of a wave with a shark coming along the front of it. And what it's done, it's found that, it's removed the shark and then put Jim in, but it hasn't removed the shark correctly.
Yeah, from what I understand, they take images and then they reduce them down. They produce like a white noise of image and then they bring it all back again.
Yeah.
It deconstructs real images and then puts them back together again.
So it does seem to be helping you, but I know there are animation tools that you could do things like give it position A, position B, and it works out between. Adobe do lots of tools like that.
Yes, yeah.
And that's not using AI, and it can do a really good job at it. Unlike the old Disney where you had to paint all the pictures between scene 1 and scene 2 with an army of people, there are tools now that can generate this type of thing. Unreal Engine, for example, does all that, but that doesn't use any AI capability to do that bit.
No, it's just doing a lot of grunt work, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, it's intelligence, but it's not artificial.
No, I think that's it. I think the pros and cons with those types of tools, you're in total control, really, of what comes out. With AI, you never quite know what's going to happen, which can be a good thing. It will give you things that you weren't expecting that you think, oh, that's actually quite good. That's quite interesting. Oh, yeah, we could do a story about a fish that comes up and, travels around with him.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So it can be inspirational.
It can be.
So, John, you gave us some great tips last time. Have you learned some stuff now? And have you got any more?
Yeah, I've got some more, and I certainly use those tips again. Well, maybe the one I forgot about was I should have had Jim with his hands in his pockets while he was surfing. That might have saved me a lot of problems.
You didn't listen to your own tips.
I didn't know. I'm always doing that. Yeah, well, do as I say, not as I do. Watch the first video about Jim.
So if you want to understand what these tips are, we'll put a link above and you can go straight to that video.
So I've got a few more tips here. One, it's similar to the characteristics. Clothing is very useful. So be consistent with your clothing and your colors. So Jim's wearing a beige jacket and trousers, a white shirt, a red tie, and make sure you put that in all your prompts when you're generating your stills so that he looks the same. And like we said before, you get tricked into thinking it's the same person, even though they look slightly different. Tip number 2 this time is be patient with the animation. Yeah, you might get 2 heads appear when you weren't only expecting one. Just run it again. The chances are next time it'll generate something that's useful.
Yeah.
Sometimes just repeating without changing anything will eventually give you what you need.
That does use your credits though, doesn't it?
It does use your credits. Maybe it's a ploy.
Yes.
I guess you get the feel of when you're chasing down a rabbit hole and you're never going to get what you want, and those odd ones that just pop up sometimes that you just ignore and try it again.
Know when you're flogging a dead horse.
That's it. You'll know once you start using it. Now, if you're using the feature of a starting image and a finishing image, then make sure they're pretty similar. Don't move too far away from the first image.
So your picture had him surfing and then sitting in the water.
Yeah.
So actually maybe that transition was quite hard to do.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had him walking along a street, perhaps he's standing at one end and standing at the other,
Yeah.
the tool could probably work that out, couldn't it?
Yeah.
It was trying to work out, well, what do I do to get it into that position? Could be anything.
When you think about it, it did do it. It just did it in a very strange way, but it got from A to B.
It didn't use natural movements, did it? But you didn't ask it to use natural movements.
That's very true. You can imagine you could have spent a lot of time on that. So my decision in the end was go, okay, let's just show him surfing and then cut to, let's just show him in the water. Let's leave it to the imagination as to what happened in between.
So why do I see so many videos online that tell me I can use AI to completely speed up my animation workflow? It doesn't feel like that's happening.
Not at all. Before this, I wasn't creating animations. So it has speeded up my animation workflow because I didn't even do it. But if you are a professional animator, I think this probably isn't going to be that helpful to you.
No.
If you've got a small business and you want to do a funny little video to promote your business, then that could be quite handy if you've got some time to spend on it.
So you don't need to hire a professional animator to do that.
That's right.
Okay, sounds interesting. It's bringing in skills that you didn't have before and allowing you to be creative without having to learn all the underlying tools.
That's right. Yes.
Although you do have to learn how to operate the AI version of those tools.
Yes. And don't forget, of course, it all had to be cut and pasted together in an editing tool. The music was created, that was cut and pasted in and edited. So there was quite a bit of editing work to do as well once I'd got the basic material to work with.
Putting the pieces together, basically. Okay, so there's definitely some value in this, and we're learning quite a lot. It's the same sort of message around test and learn, try things out, experiment, see what works, see what gives you what you need, and then move on to the next thing if it's not working.
Exactly. And keep your eyes open for new tools. I'm sure there'll be other tools coming along. I might have to cancel one subscription and open up another one.
So I'm really excited to see what happens to Jim. I don't think this is the end. He's got to find a way to better himself and find a new career somehow.
I think we need a happy ending, don't we?
Yes, everything needs a happy ending. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen, John.
Neither can I, Pete. No, I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. See you then.